Mulberry Branch Farm. I'm Ashley, this is Mark, and that is Josie. So we were tagged by Sean at No Dough Acres to do the 10 Homesteader questions. So we're going to go ahead and do those for you guys right now, and hopefully we'll get to tag somebody down in the comments below. If you are a homesteader and you're watching this and you haven't been tagged yet, go ahead, drop a comment. We'd be happy to tag you. So the first question that we've got is, what got you into homesteading? So for me personally, I feel like I was just kind of born into it. My mom always had vegetables growing outside along with a big garden, and then later on we got into chickens and horses.
Yeah, I agree. I was raised in on a farm as well, so I like the values that you can learn from a farm, and also I think it shows, our daughter where food comes from, where your fresh vegetables and everything. So it goes from farm to table, and we can see that.
And Josie's definitely been born into it. So we've had our property here for going on 10 years. What is it, a couple month or two after her 11th birthday, and she's 10 right now. So we're rounding out on being on Mulberry Branch Farm for a decade. The second question is, what would you like to add to your homestead in 2020? Okay, guys, what would I not like to add to our homestead in 2020?
More goats.
Yeah, more goats. I love bees, cooney pigs, regular pigs, emus, camels, zebras, zdonkey, or what are they, zdonks? Is that what they call them? Zdonks. Which is like a donkey zebra mix. I think those are like the coolest things in the world. Mark, what would you want to add?
So I like tools that make jobs easier. So I know when we first moved out, we didn't have a post hole digger. And we eventually got one and realized how much effort and time that saved. So for me, probably a newer tractor with a loader is something I'd like to try to get. Make it easier to clean out the barn, carry stuff into the field, just make our lives a little bit easier, I think. How about you, Joe?
I would like to get some little pigs too, and I want to get some cows. And those like animals that you were saying that's like mixed with a donkey and a zebra, those would be pretty cool.
I think I'm on the losing end there. Sounds like majority wants new animals.
Well, I think you guys see why he's the brains and the brawn, because he always helps with all the projects, but that's probably why he wants the tools, is because he knows any project that I have, well, I like to think I help him a whole lot and really contribute. I'm sure that I don't contribute near as much as I think I do. So I do agree with him. Any tools that could make our lives better is probably a really good addition to our homestead in 2020. Question number 3. What's the most difficult lesson you've learned homesteading? I'm going to let you go first, Mark.
I'd say the difficulties of losing a life on the farm, having a pet that you've owned, taken care of, especially one that's been on the farm for a while. You have those losses that just hit hard. I think one of the hardest ones we've had was one of our dogs, Athena, which was our first dog we had on the farm. So that one still evokes emotions even thinking about. So those pets you get real close to are definitely hard. But you do learn that it's a part of life. You gotta move on. You gotta take care of the animals that are still on the farm, growing and need your assistance.
Yeah, I agree with him 100%. Just because one life stops on the farm doesn't mean the other lives stop too. I mean, we can always stop and really reflect back on that animal, or how we made their lives more joyful or more enriched, and how they made our lives more enriched. I have to agree with him 100%. It's death on the farm. It's really hard to accept that we don't have control, and it's really hard to accept that despite our greatest efforts sometimes, that animals are going to pass away. No matter how much money you drop into them, how much time you give them, how much medication, anything like that. It's just one of those things that you just have to accept, that Mother Nature knows best sometimes, even if our emotions get hurt in the meantime. Joe, what's hard?
Probably losing an animal, like my dad said. But the loss that I thought were the saddest for me was probably losing Athena and then losing Hope. Hope was sick on our farm, and it was sad to lose her. She was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that one was tough.
And then I'd say the second most difficult, just to add to that too, not get away from the whole life experience thing, but weighing the use of or value of a tool. Starting out as young homesteaders, I think we weren't able to just buy a lot of big implements right off the bat.
Yes.
We started off with a decent sized barn and then added to it, but trying to look at the cost of something and seeing what benefit you can get out of it. You buy some things and you think you're going to use them, and you're like, well, it wasn't as useful as I thought it would be. Or and there's other things we buy and we're like, how do we live with that?
Number 4, what is your favorite chore on your homestead? I can name off the top of my head my least favorites. So I'd probably say my favorite is just feeding the animals, because I get to be with them every day. I check them in the morning, and that's how I start my day. But I also end my day with them, so where I might have a stressful day at work, because as much as I would love to say that we are 100% full-time homesteaders and this is all we did for a living, it is not. Reality is we both need to have an income to support what we're doing, and I'm absolutely okay with that. But ending the day with animals and watching them graze and feed and just knowing that I'm bringing them sustenance, and they're always happy to see me. And it might be just because I bring the food, but they're always happy to see me at the end of the day. And Mark?
Mine's probably bush hogging, honestly. I get to go back in the field, put on some headphones with some music, and sort of just, honestly relax. It's sort of, the work is just sort of redundant because you're just going up and down, through the field and cutting the grass and the brush, but it's sort of peaceful back there. It's away from everything else. You got the consistent, noise that sort of allows your mind just to think about things and sort of reflect on a lot of things. So I like bush hogging in a way.
Joe?
Mine's not really a chore. I just like helping my parents. That's just a chore for me, just helping them. That's my chore.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't get to see the video where we did let Josie feed the does for the first time, the link will be found up above, so click it if you'd like to see Joe take a swing at being a barn boss for a day. But she is a big help to us, and she's learning, so we expect a lot more as we go on, because as much as I'd like to think that things can go and live on this homestead without pulling their own weight, that's absolutely not true. Everything needs to contribute, and everyone needs to contribute. So we've got her in training, that's for sure. So number 5, what is your favorite thing to grow? I like to grow things that are easy that I can't kill. I like to think I have a green thumb, but I know that having the full-time job, and Joe's in 4-H, and I coach softball, which you guys will probably see that as we're getting ready to move into that season. It intersects with our planting season, so sometimes it is a little hard for me to get a head start, get out there until, and I know I rely on Mark a lot sometimes to go until while I'm getting everything set. So it's double teaming. But my favorite thing to grow, I love to grow jalapenos, because I love wrapping bacon around them and some cream cheese, popping them in the oven, and having that as a nice fresh dinner that's straight out of our garden. So that's what I like to grow. Mark, do you have anything like that?
Mine's the strawberries. So like when I'll be able to grab a fresh strawberry right out of the garden boxes and snack on it. So those are my favorite.
Well, my 2 favorite are probably to get a little weenie, what are those plants that like snatch flies for?
Well, Venus flytrap. We don't grow Venus flytraps, guys, but
I just love
she had one and she loves them.
Yeah, I love getting them and like just letting them grow and eat flies. It's my favorite part to watch. And then I love doing the strawberries, picking them and making sometimes jam out of them. And
She's a daddy's girl in that way. They love the strawberry patch. Love it. So question number 6. What do you love most about the homesteading community? So I don't know how much exposure these two have had to the homesteading community, but I'm actually part of a Facebook page that is specifically geared towards homesteaders on YouTube. And that community is amazing, guys. If you're a homesteader and you haven't been able to find a good community where they're willing to throw in their hand to help you, they're willing to look at your videos, or even if you have a question about a plant, if you're not sure what you're doing wrong when you're growing corn, you can easily drop a message in that community and you've got 13 different responses. Homesteading communities outside of the interwebs, they're just always ready to help. Always. They're ready to lend their knowledge and to help you, and I feel like they're always really willing to hear what your opinions are, because how I grow jalapenos might be different than how Joe down the road grows jalapenos, and we can help one another in that way.
Yeah, I agree. I like, well, I'm not as involved, and I don't go out and really join any of the communities or blogs. I do look at their, like if we have an issue with, you know, something on the farm or whatever, I like looking at using the blogs as a resource and seeing how people do things and seeing how they resolve their issue. I had a grandpa who would, if a tool didn't fit the job, he made his own tool, and I sort of like seeing what creativity people have out there to fix problems. And I mean, that's really what you know is cool to learn and see what people can do to fix, you know, an issue that they've run across that maybe you're also experiencing. Yeah,
they're super creative, really into ingenuity. So I have to totally agree with him. And his grandpa was a card. I loved seeing the tools that man had in his garage. I mean, he really had a knack for it.
Still got some around here.
Yeah, we still do have some around here. So, question number 7. What's your favorite meal that you make? Joe, you can go first on this one.
So, my favorite is probably to get the mulberries and make mulberry jam. I love making mulberry jam. It goes good with everything because it grows on our farm, first off, and it's super fresh. We always get the freshest and the biggest.
So for me, I would say the jalapeno poppers are one of my favorites. And then also using the strawberries to make like a strawberry cream pie or the strawberry cream cakes. So a little bit of whipped cream, a little angel food cake, and strawberries, and good to go.
For me, there's nothing better than boiled eggs and some cheese. So we've made cheese out of our goat's milk before. Boiled eggs are super easy. I love that I get them fresh. And for anybody out there that wants to argue that there's not a difference between the grocery store eggs and farm fresh eggs, there absolutely is. I'm just going to write it off that you've never had a farm fresh egg if I ever hear anybody say that. So those are some of my favorite things on the farm. Now, I did just make, what is that, cowboy beans tonight. So I love making that, which is obviously beans, sausage, ground beef. It's also got molasses, barbecue, ketchup, just everything that you could throw into a pot and let it simmer. I love my Instant Pot, so I really like the cowboy beans that I made tonight, if I do say so myself. So the 8th question we have, what is your favorite holiday? I'm going to let Joe go first on this one.
So probably my 2 favorite holidays is St. Patrick's Day. Love playing tricks on that. Then probably Christmas. I love getting presents. And then celebrating Jesus' birthday. That's probably mine.
I'll go with Christmas. I honestly like giving gifts as much as receiving them. So usually I give them early. I don't even wait till Christmas usually, but
this is the worst secret keeper ever. It isn't just Christmas with him either. It's any time. So
it's hard to put goats under a tree. You can't do that.
You know, he's really, you know, this is why I married him. The guy's got some common sense. But he is a great giver. He really is. Do you want to know what you got? Do you want to know what you got? You want to, like, no, it's okay. Let's wait till the day. But I can tell when it's eating away at him, and I like getting gifts. So, so my favorite holiday, I actually have 2, and Christmas, obviously, the birth of our Savior, is a big one for me. The giving of gifts and the receiving of gifts is great. But my second favorite is actually the 4th of July. There's nothing better than 80-degree heat, fireworks, family, barbecue, hot dogs, hamburgers. I just really like that, you know. I like to think that I'm pretty patriotic, and that's why I like that, but fireworks and food is pretty awesome. But the birth of our nation is pretty great too, so, you know. All right, so question number 9. Is your homestead permanent? Okay, so I guess this may This may require us going back to maybe like an origin story. I'm a comic book nerd. I like comic books, so I'm going to call this our origin story. So we bought this property almost 10 years ago. When we bought it, it was a retired cornfield that was overgrown with weeds, locust trees, and we literally built a house on it, spent a year here trying to get everything, the landscaping in order. Then we built our barn, then we built our fence, then we built a chicken coop, then we added on to our barn, then we built another chicken coop, then we bush hogged the back, then we added a raised bed garden. For me, everything in my barn has been custom built for what we specifically want. We built the loft ourselves, we built all the stalls, we built our feed rooms, all of that. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that's here on our homestead. And I don't know if I could ever go someplace where I feel like it is exactly what I want because of the opportunity we had to purchase this land and to build it and mold it into what we wanted and what works best for us. So for me, yeah, it's permanent. It's absolutely permanent. Now, that's not to say like life might not throw us curveballs. Work may take us somewhere. I may hit the lottery, he may hit the lottery, and we decide we're going to move out to the mountains in Colorado and start a homestead there. Life will throw you curveballs, and we will deal with that as it comes. But for right now, in our current situation, it is absolutely permanent to me. I don't know how he feels about it, but...
I think that summarizes it. I mean, it's hard to say, you know, what curveballs life can throw, but, you know, I think other than just getting a large sum of money and, like, wanting to buy a bigger farm or more land, because we like having that space around us, otherwise I consider it home, so.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're down to the last question. We're down to the last question here. What homesteaders do you watch or follow? So for me, I love Weedham and Reap. I love Danelle. I love seeing her 1 acre farm in Arizona and seeing how she molds it and just makes that her own little slice of the country. I love watching blue cactus dairy goats with Crystal. I watch Arms Family Homestead. I watch them a lot. And there are actually a lot of new homesteaders that I follow. So Sean at Nodo Acres tagged me. I watch him all the time. I watch Two Family Homestead. I watch a whole lot of different homesteaders now, especially that I've become more engrossed in the community. But just to name it off the top of my head, I think my top 2 favorites, and it's probably I won't say everybody because I don't want to generalize for other homesteaders, but for a lot of us, I love Weedham and Reap and I love White House on the Hill. I love watching him build these coops for his birds because I first started out loving chickens before I ever got into horses or goats or llamas. So for me, those are the homesteaders that I like to watch. Mark, do you have any homesteaders?
More of the stuff I watch and follow is more my hobby based, but I know I catch you watching a lot of them and I sort of overhear that. And then we have our own homestead, so I feel like I get enough of it from that. So
yeah, he knows when I'm watching Weedham and Reap or White House on the Hill that I'm going to say we should get peacocks, or why not cooney pigs, or emus. Emus would be great, wouldn't they? Even though I couldn't really justify having an emu, I'm not sure what type of revenue I would reap from them other than eggs. But you know, sometimes it's not about revenue either. Sometimes it's about having things that enrich your life and make you feel closer to the land. And if that's owning emus or camels or anything, then that's pretty much what we do. Joe, do you watch any homesteaders?
Yeah, since I got a phone, I follow my mom on there, so I follow my mom first off. Then I start watching the little White House on the Hill.
Yeah, the one with all the chickens and...
Yeah, I start watching that, and then what's that girl that rides those horses all the time? And
oh, she's talking about Fallon Taylor. While Fallon Taylor is not a homesteader, she's an awesome barrel racer. So I love watching her vlogs, and Josie will often watch them with me early in the morning because I wake up an hour early just to watch YouTube videos. Anything else?
no.
Okay. All right, I think that's going to do it for us here on Mulberry Branch Farm. So if you're a homesteader and you're watching this right now and you've not been tagged yet, consider yourself tagged. we'd love to be able to go out on YouTube and to find hundreds of other homesteaders that have also answered these questions, just to see what your viewpoint is. Maybe you live on huge amounts of acreage, whereas we live on 13, or maybe you're like Danelle and Weedham and Reap, and you're on 1 acre in suburbia. So go ahead, consider yourself tagged. We want to hear from you. This did originate from Copper Kettle Farms. The collaboration was started there, and I can't thank them enough because I've learned a lot about my fellow homesteaders in the community, and I hope you guys have learned a lot about us too. So I think that's going to do it for us here today, guys. If you found yourself liking this video, go ahead, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. It helps us out a whole lot. Leave a comment down below. If you have questions for us, or you want us to elaborate on maybe any of our answers that we had for these questions, we'd love to see it in the comments. And trust me, I'm always on my handy dandy phone monitoring everything. So until next time, guys, bye. Did you really wait for me to hit record to cough? She did, didn't she?
Yeah.
No, I had to call.
Look at this motley crew. We moved all the mommies out into the main herd. Woo. Hubby's in the back playing with a boomstick. Hey, look at